Shoot to grill, aim to chill. Too many cold ones, I need an Advil, yeah. Shoot to grill, I can't kill. So don't bring me nothing that's got chlorophyll, yeah.
Welcome to Shoot to Grill. It's the podcast that it involves grilling and some great guests. Like once again we have this week. My name is Jason Bailey. I want to host you through the next few minutes as we eat some food and have some good times. I'd like you to meet our guest here this week. We have three-time, I say 1, 2, and 3-time Super Bowl champion for the Dynasty San Francisco 49ers, my good friend, Randy Cross.
Yes, good to be with you, Jason.
And
where's the meat?
Well, the meat is going to be coming from the guy to your left with Phillips Barbecue Company, phillipsbarbecueco.com. Sheed is back with us. Rasheed, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for having me back.
All right, so before we get into the Dynasty days with Randy and that Joe Montana guy and that Jerry Rice guy and all that good stuff, we need to know what we're going to be eating on this week's episode of Shoot to Grill, which the meat is supplied by Mobile Meat and Seafood, mobilemeatandseafood.com. Terry Smith, he's going to come in a second and explain the actual meat, but what are you going to do with the meat that Terry's brought?
Well, Terry brought over some amazing-looking steaks. And when I say amazing-looking, I mean they've got great marbling. Marbling is that nice little fat woven through the body of the meat there. That's where your flavor's coming from. I really don't have to do much to it. I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of smoke, salt, and pepper, ride it out 2 minutes each side, and then we get to enjoy. But I am going to serve it with a little side of chimichurri for us to enjoy a little bit.
Jimmy who?
Chimichurri.
Yeah.
Someone said that I have to start including greens, and I said, well, parsley's green, so let's have at it.
Jalapeno's green.
Exactly, right?
Randy, you know what a chimi what?
A chimichurri.
Chimichurri.
It's like
It's a
a
sauce.
chia pet, but you eat it.
Oh, that sounds delicious. All right, well, let's bring Terry over here real quick. Terry, come on over here, my friend. Again, Mobile Meat and Seafood, mobilemeatandseafood.com. Even though we're based out of Atlanta, Georgia, you can get this stuff shipped to your house. Now, Terry and I play tennis together, and he rolls up every time, and he's got his truck. And on the back of the truck, it's a damn freezer or, a refrigerator. It's got all the meat in there. So after tennis, he always hits us up, and he's like, hey, Bailey, you want some ribs? You want some chicken wings? So it's like a mobile grocery store. Terry, I know that she did a great job explaining the steaks. You want to add anything to this?
Yeah, I'm a rep for Prime Meats, and I've been helping Atlantans out for the past 25 years in quality meats and seafood. You do get my things in the store. I'm a rep for Prime Meats. We deliver some of the best restaurants and steakhouses in the city and bring that quality out to you. And today we have some Manhattan ribeyes, verified Angus beef. It's the heart of the ribeye, the best piece of it, and the chef will have a good time grilling it.
All right. Well, Terry, thank you, brother, once again for supplying the meats for us here for Shoot to Grill. That's great. He's like after tennis, and you got this truck, and it's got a bunch of meat, rolling up to the.
It's just right there.
To the Cross household, just unloading some whatnot. All right, so Sheed, we're going to get on the grill cam also with this episode for you viewing. You want to go over to the KJ, the Kamado Joe grill, and by the way, we do this podcast from Atlanta Grill Company here in Atlanta, and not only do they have the KJ, the Kamado Joe, but they've got the Yoders, they got the pellet grilling back here. They've got the Napoleons, the propane grills. They got everything. They got the Yetis inside, and you can go online to AtlantaGrillCompany.com and buy anything. And Jason and the crew here, they'll ship it off to you. But they're fantastic people, and they supply the set for us. So Sheed, you're going to get started on the steaks.
Got to go.
All right, we'll keep track of you while I sit here and I talk to Randy Cross. Randy, it's good to see. We worked together, by the way. For those that don't know, we worked together for about a year until I got fired.
Yeah. You lovingly refer to that experience as Shawshank.
The Shawshank days.
Yeah.
And I was actually telling the story to a buddy of mine the other day. I was like, I called it on the air, and you didn't believe me.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
You were pretty accurate. Yeah.
It was pretty accurate. So, for those that aren't familiar with Randy Cross, well, look, 3-time Super Bowl champion, that dynasty days, man, of the 80s San Francisco 49ers, still it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's happening in today's NFL. It always goes back to the conversation of you and Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and you had Roger Craig, you had Ronnie Lott.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, it was almost not fair.
To some point, yeah. I was just up in New York for a couple days this week, and I was talking to Harry Carson and Curtis Martin and Marty Lyons and some of the old New York guys. And a couple of them were saying that. Harry specifically. He said, Bill Parcells couldn't stand your team. They couldn't stand you guys. Really hated your coach because your coach was so smart.
And that, of course, was Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the great Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, he was, I believe, and I'm sure those that would like to comment online would correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think Bill Walsh had a video game before John Madden.
Yeah, was that Sega?
I just remember seeing Bill Walsh on the cover way before, I could be off here, but I think before John Madden.
It was. In fact, it was back in the handheld days.
It was before the video game world was the video game world.
It was just after the buzzing ones.
The ones that actually So when you travel around and you do football games on television and you do radio and you've got your podcast, and people can find your podcast where again?
RandyCross.com.
Randy Cross. So that's a good website to have for a guy named Randy Cross.
Yeah, it is. Which
is a phenomenal podcast, by the way, because Randy not only talks about sports, talks about everything, and the stories that he shares are fantastic. I'm lucky because Randy and I will hang out, and I'll kind of be a fan and mark out a little bit, and I'll be like, hey, you tell me a little bit about this one time. But when people come up, when fans of football in general, or the San Francisco 49ers, or Randy Cross or Joe Montana, what's the one story that they always want to know about? What's the one time they always want to know about?
It's probably, if there's one, it's either about the catch against Dallas.
With Dwight
Clark's catch. Or it's about John Candy in Super Bowl 20.
Drive.
Yeah, Super Bowl 23, the beginning of the drive, when we're standing in the end zone, getting ready to start the drive, and Joe comes in the huddle and notes everybody is just puckered up, something fierce. And he looks over and goes, is that John Candy over there? And everybody in the huddle kind of looks over their shoulder and says, yeah. And he goes, how cool is that? We're going, yeah, I guess that's pretty cool. And he goes, okay, come on, let's go. He just broke the tension completely.
And that if you've seen the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner, they talk about that. Actually, Randy and I went and watched that premiere for that movie, and we're sitting in the theater.
That was right before you got fired.
Yeah, it was right before I got fired. and we're sitting in the theater, and we're watching the movie, and when they talk about the drive, and they show Randy, number 51, he's snapping the ball to Joe, and they talk about the John Candy thing. And I turned to Randy. My wife, I think, was in between us. I turned to him. I go, did you get paid for this movie? He's like, I didn't even know I was in it.
That's the truth. That's typical NFL and NFL films.
They didn't even tell you that you were in it. And so that was against Cincinnati. What year and what Super Bowl was this?
January of '89. It was Super Bowl 23.
Yeah, and you were down how many?
We were down 3.
Down 3?
Yeah.
So you were really just looking for the field goal.
Field goal would have tied it and got in overtime. Touchdown was just sort of gravy.
Did you or anybody in the huddle ever get to tell that story to John Candy?
No. I actually, well, you know what? I might have told him that story. We did a celebrity. Remember David Wolper? He was a real famous director. He did big TV back in the days and did movies. And he had a tournament, and he had his own golf course in Napa. And he had this big tournament at Silverado. And John Candy was there. And John Candy has a party at his room. He orders like everything on the menu times 3. And all these chafing trays are coming, and he's eating like crazy, and he's sweating like a pig.
Right.
And so no surprise he dies of a heart attack not too long after that. So I probably kind of shared it with him then.
Yeah, do you remember his reaction? I mean, was it like, that's the coolest thing
ever? No way. That can't be true.
He was a 49ers fan. He wasn't a Bengals fan.
No, he wasn't. He was a Niner fan. He actually owned part of the Toronto Argonauts back then.
Okay, so he was there as a football fan cheering on you guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, while you guys were in the huddle, had no idea that just his presence and Joe Montana's, just bringing his – did you ever talk to Joe about this? Did he know that did he do that purposely to break the tension?
Oh, yeah.
Or was he just really enthralled
it was intentional.
It was intentional.
Yeah. And, I actually kind of, after a while, people they doubted it happened.
Uh-huh.
And because I tell the story and they go, come on. And then there was a guy named Terry Ewert. He was the executive producer of CBS Sports back in the early 90s.
Uh-huh.
And he comes up to me and he says, I worked for the NBC, my last job. I gave John Candy that sideline pass. So if anybody ever tells you he wasn't on the sideline, I'll tell him it's pure bullshit. I gave him the pass.
That's phenomenal. Did Joe ever try to do that again? Because you retired.
Not with me. That was my last game.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He might have done it again, but I didn't see it.
I wonder if he was like, that John Candy trick worked one time. Look, there's such and such in the stands. It might actually work again. Hey, give us 30 seconds so we can thank some good people for making this happen. A big thanks to Jarrett with Oxendine Law Firm, oxlawfirm.com. What does Jarrett do? Well, Jarrett will take care of any divorce that you might be thinking about having. He handles divorces in the state of Georgia and especially the greater Atlanta area. oxlawfirm.com. Thanks, Jarrett. See, that wasn't bad. Now back to the Shoot to Grill podcast. So, you look at all three of the Super Bowl rings that you won. Which one stands out to you the most? Which one was the most special?
Well, the first one's amazing. It's kind of like the first kid. The second one was the best team I ever played on.
Why was that?
Super Bowl 19, because we just beat the crap out of everybody we played.
You had who on there?
That was Montana. That was Craig. That was before Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice came in 84 or 85.
So you didn't need Jerry to
Freddie
win.
Solomon, unbelievable defense.
Was Lott there?
Fred Dean, Ronnie Lott, Jack Reynolds, Manu Tuiasosopo, Dwayne Boer. I mean, we had just a deadly. Keena Turner was a linebacker. We beat Dan Marino and the Dolphins in that Super Bowl. It was at Stanford.
So I remember, not to show the age gap between myself and Randy, but I remember watching that game.
From your crib?
No. I was old enough to walk and talk. It was like we had just moved into a house up in Merrill. My mom just got married to my first, dick stepdad. And we're watching it on our, box television there. And he's cheering for the 49ers.
Yeah.
And I was not.
Was that back in the Hardscrabble days?
That was it, the Severna Park days. Yeah. And so I'm watching the game, and I was like, well, I'm going to pick the Dolphins because I liked the blue. And I just remember, I'm like 6, 7 years old, I guess, at the time, whatever. But I just remember that game. Marino was throwing a lot of balls in the dirt.
Yeah, he was getting.
Am I right on that?
He was also getting beat to death.
So that's why he was throwing all the balls in the dirt.
He hadn't been hit all year long, and our defense was just pounding him.
Yeah.
And we won pretty easy. We won like 38-16.
It's not fun when you win that big in a Super Bowl, is it?
Oh, it's great. I'll tell you what's even worse for me. I retire. I was done. I announced my last game was at Super Bowl 23.
Yeah.
The week or the year after, I'm working with CBS. I'm on the sideline in the playoffs working on NFL Today.
Uh-huh.
And I watched this team, and I went, you idiot. Because as soon as I saw them play, I went, they're going to win again. You could have had another one. You could have had 4.
Get a bonus check.
You could have had 4, Dan.
4 bonus
and
checks.
Playoff money.
Yeah. And you always hear comparisons about today's NFL and the NFL then, and the coaching style and the players maybe being a little bit softer now. And the money is ridiculous. I mean, you just must bang your head to see some of the money these guys are getting paid, including offensive and especially defensive linemen.
Oh, yeah.
When you see these guys now today, do you kind of take that approach too, and you're like,
well, it's a different game too. I mean, much like the game that Mike Ditka and Paul Hornung and those guys played in the 60s and so.
Yeah.
The game that we played in the 80s is completely different than the game today. They've changed the rules to protect the players significantly over especially the last decade and a half. If those rules weren't changed and they were playing the way we played, there'd be guys getting killed. I mean, literally, there would be people dying on the football field.
So you're saying that's a good thing?
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, because it was pretty much – there was no lid on the pot. I mean, you busted guys' legs. You tried to hurt people.
Gave him a little oil check in the pile.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was pretty nasty. So
would a guy like Bill Romanowski, you play with Bill, right?
Yeah, Bill was a rookie my last year.
All right, one of the dirtiest players ever to play the game.
Yeah, probably.
More or less when he was probably with Denver
and the Raiders.
Yeah. Would a guy like that be able to exist in the NFL today?
Probably not. They'd fine him right out of the league.
I mean, the equivalent to a Bill Romanowski today would be a Vontae Burfict, right? Perfect.
Yeah, it'd be Vontez, who's coincidentally now a Raider too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, he'd probably be, because he's been fined something like $270,000.
Doesn't give a damn. Doesn't give a damn.
Well,
either.
you talked about money earlier. Give you a point of perspective. I retired in January of '89, which is just now 30 years. I was the 4th highest paid offensive lineman in the league, and I made $600,000.
Wow. These guys
the
now are
fourth
making
highest
what?
paid lineman in the league now is probably making $17 million. So it's changed just a little bit.
Have you ever thought about going back and saying, you know what? I think I got another season in me.
Yeah, but then you go to a game and you see it, and you would say, I wouldn't last very long. I'd also have to put on about 30 pounds.
How do you, when you hear the argument of the GOAT, at least at the quarterback position, you're obviously biased because you played with the great Joe Montana, but you see Tom Brady, he's got the stats to back it up, and really with Tom,
so does Joe. He never lost a game in the Super Bowl, and never threw an interception.
In the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that would be the big argument if you're comparing the two.
Never threw a pick, never lost a game. He was 4-0.
Yeah. But Tom, the surrounding Tom really hasn't been, a stacked lineup. He's been able to do this
at
with
times.
At times. But I mean, even when he had Randy Moss there, he couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
But then he's got guys that aren't, A-caliber dudes around him, but he's still able to pull it off. Is that all because of coaching?
It's primarily because of coaching.
Yeah.
Bill, really good coaches, and I can sort of speak of that only because we had one, are an unbelievable advantage.
Yeah.
Just as much as bad leadership and bad management in any business will kill you.
Right.
If you got the exceptional person.
Yeah.
And that's what this guy is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just exceptional. And there's nobody even close right now.
Yeah. Do we know where we're at with the steaks? I smelled them, and then I saw Sheed leave the kitchen that we have here. I'm hungry.
Yes.
Are you?
Yes, I could nosh.
You grill at the house.
I could. Oh yeah.
The Cross house.
Yeah.
I know you do.
Yeah,
but over there, you got a nice big deck out there.
I'm more of a sear. We were talking earlier. I'm more of a fan of slow cooking stuff and then
smoking it out,
or I get those silicone pads, and I do the salmon on that just fast at about 500 degrees. You
don't have time to stay out
3
there.
3 minutes.
So when I've got the KJ at my house, and when I started on it, I was smoking a lot of the meats because I'd never done that before, and I would call Jason and the guys up here at Atlanta Grill Company. And I'm asking advice. I'm going to Google. I'm having people from God knows where on these YouTube videos tell me how to do this stuff. And I finally got it down. And then it was like funny because after the smoking process, I started to grill the rotisserie, which is awesome for the KJ, which is the basket.
Right.
Like you see at the grocery store, the chicken's just going around. Amazing to do wings. And for those that don't know, and I know we talk about it on the podcast, Kamado is a style of grilling. Whether it's the KJ or the Big Green Egg or whatnot, but it's the style of grilling, how the heat, and the convection of the heat, how it's built. And then you could just do so many different things on it.
It's a Dutch oven, a big Dutch oven on wheels.
Yes, it's a huge, and you can taste the flavor, and it's not, and I always make this clear on the podcast, it's never a knock on propane for those that do propane, because I've got one of those as well. I think you should have both, actually. So if you want to step outside and you want to quick grill something, the propane's phenomenal. I mean, they carry the Napoleon brand here at Atlanta Grill Company, and they're great. I mean, that's one of the best grills as far as a propane grill that I've ever used. But it's an experience, man. It's just a awesome hobby experience to go out there on like a Kamado Joe and grill, and it's relaxing. Would you not agree? Relaxing.
Oh, it's definitely relaxing.
And get you out of the house and nobody's bothering you.
Yeah, it's you have to sort of perfect it.
Yeah. That's why we have Sheed back there doing our steaks for you. I can smell the perfection.
There's definitely a learning curve when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get it down, it's It spoils you.
Yeah.
Because you go to restaurants and it's just not the same.
Yeah, it's kind of like a get what you pay for. And sometimes it takes you a long time in life to get to the you get what you pay for thing.
Yeah.
When you have to have the good meats.
Good is not cheap.
Good is not cheap. But you have to invest. And that's why I went to Terry with Mobile Meat and Seafood. I was like, look, I want the best meats that we can possibly get when we do this podcast. I want one of the best, if not the best, chefs and grillers like Sheed from Phillips Barbecue Co. And then I want to do it on some of the nicer grills.
Yeah.
And it
How
just
about the back of that truck?
I know.
You've been through that thing?
all the time.
Oh my God.
You name it, he's got it. He's got ribs. He's got. He always tries to give me the turkey
It's
ribs.
like the smaller tomahawk chops, and then you got the pork chop bone in, and then you got the salmon.
Oh, you went through it.
Oh yeah, I mean, got all that stuff. And then I mean, the thing that floored me are the others,
What's the others? I haven't seen the other
the hors
box.
d'oeuvres stuff.
Oh yeah, he's got hors d'oeuvres in there
Yeah.
too. Yeah. After a tennis match, he'll bring everybody out there, and it's like the ice cream man. He's like a drug dealer for meats.
I got some ice cream. I got some ice.
I'll go on record to say Terry Smith with MobileMeatandSeafood.com is a drug dealer for meats. He will get you hooked on his meat, which sounds just so weird.
That's just not right.
And awkward. And then once you get hooked, you're jonesing for something, and then he'll roll up to your house. I told him he needs to put some music behind that, like one of those.
Got the start of a song, Jonesing for Terry's Meat.
Jonesing for Terry'sMeats.com. If it hasn't, wow, look at that. We got the grill cam going on over there too.
Hello.
Did you cook them that fast, Sheed? Oh yeah. They're about done? Seasoned them and ready to rock and roll. All right, let's do it.
That does not suck.
Let's bring them. Oh, dude, I've been craving good steak lately.
Yeah.
I know this is the bone out, right? Bone out. We're gonna have to do one with a tomahawk steak because there's something to be said. There was a place. I was up in New York a little while back, and I forget what the restaurant was. God, I wish I remember the restaurant. And it was the first time I ever had a tomahawk steak, and it was like that. At the beginning of the Flintstones when the damn car flips over because they got the thing on top?
Yeah, same thing.
It was just like that.
Yeah.
It filled up the entire table.
We do a golf tournament at my club, and every year they serve these tomahawk ribeyes.
Yeah.
That are the bones are 2 feet long.
Yeah.
Foot and a half long.
Yeah.
With a great big monster ribeye on the end of it.
Yeah. It's delicious.
Oh, it tastes good. You'll be sitting down for a while after you eat that thing.
So what I've learned when grilling steaks at home, and Sheed when he comes over, because I know he's bringing our food over here in a second, is you have to do the sear, right? You do this. This is actually, Sheed, when you come over, tell me if I'm off here, would you? You do the sear on the cast iron, and this is on the Kamado Joe, which the cast iron, and then you put it down to the rack, and then you grill it to whatever temperature you want it to do. And you can tell us about that in a second when you come over again, Sheed, the temperature wise. I'm a medium rare-ish, medium kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you baste it with butter and whatever, kind of seasoning you want.
Oh,
on
yeah.
it. And before you rub it on the edges. So you do that like kind of salt and pepper, garlic rub around the edges, and you roll it in there. That's just how I like to do it.
Yeah, you're one of those rub my meat kind of guys.
Yeah, that again, rubterrysmeat.com. Yeah. That's he's over there going, you know what, Jason and Randy, that's not a bad idea. I might get that URL. That sounds like a good .com. I think my business is going to pick up a little bit. If not, for those that are watching the podcast, might pick it up and steal it from you. Hey, give us 30 seconds so we can thank some good people for making this happen. Big thanks to Northside Tool Rental for sponsoring Shoot to Grill. Any and all of your tool rental needs with 5 Atlanta area locations. From chainsaws to track loaders to wood splitters, I've rented just about everything from Northside Tool Rental. Check them out online, northsidetoolrental.com. Thanks, guys. See, that wasn't bad. Now back to the Shoot to Grill podcast. You got to have the seasoning, and then afterwards make sure it's juicy. And I bring it into the house with the wife and the kids and Rach and everybody. Even Ariel, who's not a big steak fan, our daughter, she's sitting there gulping it down.
Yeah.
And it's how you cook it, and you got to have the right meat. And especially, if you're having people over the house, I don't know about you guys, I don't know about you, Randy, but I need them to leave after tasting everything. I need them to leave and say, that dude is a damn good griller. It's important. It's a status thing. It's like
it's
winning.
it's very important.
It's like winning 3 Super Bowl championships.
You need that feedback. I know I'm good, but I'd like to hear that I'm good.
I'm the kind of guy that if I cook something at my house, you've got to taste it, everything, and you got to taste it how I want you to taste it. You know that. You've been over the house.
Yeah.
You've been over to the Bailey House of Awesomeness. I make sure that you are eating everything that I'm making, and you're eating it the way I want you to eat it.
And don't be Bogart in the compliments either.
That's right.
You got to let those things flow.
I'm kind of a food dick, if you whatever you want to call it.
Oh, that sounds pretty good. That's pretty accurate.
I'm one of those food guys. Anybody else you play with? This is pre-Kamado Joe and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But would you go over and grill with the fellas?
We used to have a house, Patrice and I, right on this creek, and I poured this stamped concrete all in our backyard, and which had a pathway in the middle. There was a pool out to the right, where this pool was all surrounded by it. But we had a pathway that led up to right by the creek, and I had them in concrete build me a grill.
That's
and I went
nice.
out and bought one of those 4 feet by 2 feet with a cast iron kind of grill on top.
Pretty badass, dude.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I had a gas starter built into it, and it was crazy.
And I bet you never cleaned it.
Oh, you can't.
You can't clean
That's
it.
all the good flavors.
It's
on
like
there.
it's like
the
those
cast iron skillets.
It's like those grills that you'll find at the public park. As much as you think it's disgusting and dirty, there's something about the taste of all these people that have been grilling out there at the park. It's like
reality is as much of a germaphobe as you can be.
Right, exactly.
Once you get to that temperature,
Yeah.
there's nothing alive.
That's what you're thinking, right?
There's nothing alive on that thing but flavor.
It's the concept of chlorine kills everything. Heat kills everything.
True.
So it's not a problem. Again, we want to thank Atlanta Grill Company. That's where we do Shoot to Grill, our podcast. We can't thank Jason and their crew enough for supplying us with this amazing kitchen that they have right outside here in Atlanta, Georgia, AtlantaGrillCompany.com. They'll ship you any type of grill. I think this is your first time here, right?
Oh yeah, I like this thing right here.
Yeah.
How about a built-in skillet on your
I know, that's
outdoor You got,
They got one over there.
You got a little sizzle skillet over here. You got the pizza oven over there.
That takes a minute to heat up. We're going to use that on one of these podcasts. We just got to get here a couple hours early when we figure out how this whole thing works. Again, Terry Smith with mobilemeatandseafood.com. Create Graphix. Ryan and everybody over at creategraphics.net. We're going to get T-shirts and some stuff available for you if you want to get in on this. So when you're doing your grilling, you can represent the Shoot to Grill podcast, which would be mad cool. The banner and stuff down there. Sheed, who is bringing, I see him cooking our steaks right now. She's been phenomenal, man. Everything that he's cooked for us on the podcast has been great. So just a great team of people. And Nate, our producer, who is the man of many hats. So not only produces a radio show, but he also is doing the podcast. We couldn't do it without old Nate. So he's a good dude.
Oh yeah.
I know you looked at him and you're like, is there anything else that you can do for us, Nate?
That's right. Well, he's helping to cook over there.
I know. He's got the grill cam going over there while we got the still cam going up here, which is pretty damn cool. All right, so we're looking over there, and he's cutting the steaks right now. So I'm guessing we're going to get them all sliced up. Like if we're going out and we get a couple bites each. That's how we're going to do it. They cook
Sounds
pretty
good.
fast. What do you got, about 8 or 9 minutes on those things? Yeah, that's all you need right there. All right. I'm hungry.
That's pretty good though.
Oh, dude. Well, if you take it off before, you don't want to overcook the damn thing. Even if you're not poking it with the thermometer, you overcook it, it's done.
Yeah,
And then you
I'm not a big poker.
got to poke terrysmeats.com. RandyPokesTerrysMeats.com. How about that one?
Yeah.
This is
poking leads to leaking.
Very, very
Juice goes away.
Very immature podcast. I know. I understand. We're way off base here. And then we've got the seasoning. I'm guessing you put some of your rub on this, right, Sheed?
Yeah, I rub Terry's meat.
His back's been turned the whole time, so I'm a little nervous.
I think this podcast might be categorized under.
Is this the rub here he's got working?
No, it's back there on his pants.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Here you go. Yeah, that's from PhillipsBarbecueCo.com.
I like it.
Yeah, he's used that. He used that. What did you use that on? The what do we have? Oh, the salmon. Yeah, we had that on the salmon, and the wings. Yeah, we've had that on the
I
wings.
like the labeling. Just says Phillips, and you have to guess what's in it. You just say it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
What's in it? I don't know. It's Phillips.
We're going to put a picture of Terry, our meat guy, on there. And so before you do it, you can just kind of rub it. And then I know, we're getting out of hand. This is a little weird. I know. It's kind of gotten out of hand here. I'm sorry. All right, Sheed, bring us our meat, please, sir. I know you're putting the greens on there. We're starving.
Greens.
I know. Who needs greens when you got the
Yeah.
meats? Yeah. Oh, look at this. This is phenomenal. All right. Look at that.
Hello. Oh, that's a chimichanga.
Yeah. That's what. That's the
Chimichurri.
You need to sit down and join us, Sheed, because you need to
Thank
walk
you.
us through this. And Nate, you got this right on the grill cam, so we saw how amazing this looks. All right, you want to go ahead and take a bite?
Oh yeah.
All right. Did you go chimichanga with it?
Oh yeah. Ooh,
Oh my God,
that chimichurri is good.
chimichurri, not chimichanga. That's a Mexican thing, right?
You guys enjoying it, huh?
Oh my God.
Not half bad.
Oh my God.
You know what you really got to do is it starts with the product. I told you, Terry's got the best meat in town.
Can't beat Terry's meat.
All right,
Yeah.
so
You can rub it, but you can't beat it.
so give us temperature and time.
This is I cook it to just under medium rare. So everyone has their own preference. I can't do a steak well done. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
It ends up feeling like you're chewing a hockey puck.
Uh-huh.
And that lets you get that nice little cool pink center. Nice little sear on the back end. That fat's rendered out. It's nice and juicy. It's probably tasting like butter. And then the chimichurri is just for fun. A little dip in there.
Plus,
It's not needed.
It's
Can
gonna
put it to
keep.
the side.
It's gonna keep cooking.
Oh yeah.
So did you sear this?
So your process is sort of like a reverse sear type of thing.
Okay.
Get your outsides done, then get your insides
That's
done.
how I do it.
That's how you do it.
All right, how'd you do it?
This is right over that heat. It's not directly over. I put the baffle plate in the KJ. So I had one side covered. The other side just had that heat flaming over.
Uh-huh.
And I put it right towards that edge.
Yeah. See, that's what happened to me last week.
It did.
That's what happened to me on another episode, right? Just like that. Yeah. Go get some water, Sheed.
I'd
Okay,
rather
so
crack one of these
I'll have a
open.
beer.
now, how are you checking the temperature? I mean, obviously you do this, and you're the best at what you do when it comes to grilling and cooking just in general.
Guy?
I'm the fuel guy.
So you just feel it out, and then you cut it, and you're not sticking a thermometer in there, correct?
Can't poke it.
Can't-
Juices leak.
Oh, you can't. You're saying
Aha!
you can't poke it.
Can't poke it.
No. Okay.
You should not be squeezing your meat.
Okay.
Should
well,
not be doing that.
How did you make this this chimichurri stuff? That's good. How do you say it again?
The chia pet,
Yeah, the chia pet. This green stuff. It's amazing. Like this is a total bonus.
it's a little extra. It's really big in South America. It's fresh
Terry,
Italian
get Patrice
parsley.
out here. Oh yeah.
Yeah, make sure
Yeah,
she gets
yeah.
some steak. Yeah.
We'd all get in trouble if that steak goes missing.
Yeah,
They didn't
Yeah.
got
So
that
go
right.
ahead. How'd you make this?
Parsley, cilantro, olive oil, fresh lime juice,
Uh-huh.
red wine vinegar. Or you can use, white vinegar, whichever vinegar you got at home. Nothing specific. A little bit of garlic.
Mm-hmm.
Mash it all in there and go to town.
So when you heard me talk about how I was doing steaks,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Each into their own.
Nothing wrong with that. I'd say cook how you like to eat.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
All right. And Randy, you do yours.
I like more of the Pittsburgh style.
Explain.
This is you hit it hard on the outsides,
Yeah.
temperature wise.
Yeah.
Then I take it off and let it slow cook.
Yeah.
Because you'll have that
Take
carryover
it,
heat.
Yeah, take it off the fire
Uh-huh.
into another part of the grill,
Yeah.
and just let the heat do it for a short period of time. But you get a good sized steak.
You're almost like you're borderline in caveman style, where you just toss that bad boy in the ashes type of thing.
I go 5 and 5.
Okay, I like
and
that.
then remove it off the bad heat, and then go another 5 minutes like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Let it sit for another 5, then carve it up.
That's true, and that goes to
Because I like it on the medium rare
yeah,
side.
yeah, I like that, and it's that's all about the thickness of your meat too. To be honest, we can go 5 and 5 with these.
No.
Not that they're bad, it's just the thickness just isn't there for it. These are nice 3/4 inch, 1 inch thick steaks.
Yeah.
what you're talking about, we need 1.5 inches, 2 inches minimum just to go to town. But
Some
the
people,
Alta is really
some
good.
people will go and they'll sear it, and then they'll bring it inside and put it in the oven.
Yeah, that's true.
I got a buddy that does that, and that's
Put it in a cast iron skillet.
That's what they do a lot of restaurants. So if you're going to your Longhorns or things like that, 90% of the time, that's what you're getting. The only difference is they actually have a wood fire that's hitting that sear, so you get that smokiness.
No.
But they're hitting it both sides, put it in the oven to finish.
Yeah, and
that's
I've
what
actually
Then they're going to hit it with that butter.
Yep.
yeah, and I've
Butter, rosemary, parsley.
they've got it in the cast iron skillet on the stove, a high heat.
Yep,
And they're
yep.
searing it like that. Then they're not even using a grill.
No.
I mean, obviously it's a different taste when you use a grill.
It is, it definitely is. And it also
It's
depends
city-
on your
it's
cast
city-
iron,
it's city
too.
grilling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
city
yeah,
grill.
That's city
Yeah, city
grill.
grill. All right. Well, look, so we'll wrap it up for this episode of Shoot to Grill. Again, thanks to Atlanta Grill Company, atlantagrillcompany.com, mobilemeatandseafood.com, creategraphics.net. Also, our friends at Sweetwater, because they provided us with some Sweetwater 420, some beer. You know, we finally got some beer, right? It's really got to have some beer. Rashid with Phillips Barbecue Company, phillipsbarbecuecode.com, and three-time Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers, my very good friend Randy Cross. Thanks for joining us this week. I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thanks for
My
coming out,
pleasure.
Randy.
Good to
Hope
be
you
here with
enjoyed
you
the
guys.
steak.
Make
It
sure
was
you
fantastic.
Make sure you poke around the website and see different things from our sponsors and those that are helping out the show, and different episodes for different things that we're grilling on Shoot to Grill. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you. Live rebelliously, drink responsibly with Bedlam Vodka. I tell you, they are the best at what they do. I am in love with Bedlam Vodka. Goes down smooth, has consistency. Demand your Bedlam Vodka, and we appreciate Bedlam Vodka for sponsoring the Shoot to Grill podcast. BedlamVodka.com. Thanks to CreateGraphics.net for all the signage and the shirts that they supply for us here on the Shoot to Grill podcast. Now, are you in need of some signage or shirts or maybe something for your company? You don't have to be here in Atlanta where we do the podcast to get hooked up with CreateGraphics.net.